What is Hillsborough known for? To me, it's livability. Early on in the pandemic, we learned that Money Magazine ranked Hillsborough as number 29 of the top 50 best places to live in the United States. It was the only city in the Northwest to be included on the list. And we all know that Hillsborough is really number one in our hearts. Well, Reader's Digest also said we're number one in the state as the friendliest city in Oregon. Now, during the pandemic, we were all challenged deeply, and we searched within ourselves and within our communities, for what mattered most and what gives us joy. And so for many of us in Hillsborough, what lifts our collective spirits and gives us that joy is our parks and our libraries. And it's a credit to those who are around me on the screen right now and to many others who have worked throughout the pandemic to serve our community in our parks and our libraries. And so joining me today to talk about Hillsborough's parks and recreation and libraries are Council President Kyle Allen, Hillsborough Library Board Chair Katie Ryan, Hillsborough Parks and Recreation Commissioner Forrest Huntington, YAC, or Youth Advisory Commission member Imani Warnham, the President of the Library Foundation of Hillsborough, Debbie Clark, Barbara Wright, who's the coordinator for the Friends of the Hillsborough Public Library, and our city manager, Robbie Hammond. Thank you all for joining me today. Now, from great schools to great restaurants, great neighborhoods to live and great places to work, we have so much in our community to be thankful for. So many things that contribute to a high livability. But Forrest, there's no bigger step forward for our community in 2021 when it comes to livability than the opening of the Hidden Creek Community Center. Can you share with us a little bit about that?
Thanks, Mayor. I have great news. The Hidden Creek Community Center is going to be opening with limited capacity on March 15th. It has a central location directly across the street from 53rd Avenue Community Park and right down the road from Noble Woods Park. This is right in the heart of Hillsborough. This is going to be a great place for cultural celebrations, weddings, and other events that help form our diverse community. Inside, we have a gym, a fitness studio. We have a large cardio and weights room and multiple community rooms. Outside, there's pickleball courts, there's a futsal court, and there's connections to neighborhood trails, parks, and the future inclusive playground and park area. Tours are currently going to be available right now by appointment, and there's going to even be fitness class demos. They're going to be available the last 2 weeks of March.
Thank you. And Councilor Allen and I have been in that facility, and it really is magnificent. Council President Allen, as a parent and counselor, firsthand from talking with community members and your own family, the importance of facilities like Hidden Creek, how important they are to our community. So can you share with us some of your thoughts?
Yeah, so I do have a young family, and we've been very lucky to use our current community center to do things like arts classes, dance classes, the crafts. Our kids love all of those activities. And so that's one reason why we're so excited for the new Hidden Creek Community Center. But it's also notable that, the center pays attention to important things like the community rooms are named after our indigenous tribes, right? Five Oaks and Tualatin. It really is a facility that values sustainability. It's made with cross-laminated timber. So it's a renewable resource that we're using in that community center. It has solar panels on the roof and EV chargers out front. And so it really is a facility that's meant to embody the values of Hillsborough. And that's one reason why I'm so excited for adjacent to the community center, Being a Star is going to be constructing with the city new affordable housing. So this will be a place that is open and accessible to everyone in our community. And it's one of those things I'm really excited for.
Thank you. I share that excitement, and with that project going in across the street, it really does add to that sense of community and the center of the community as well. And we'll touch base more on the housing project, in our panel on housing and homelessness. But another project that's near the community center and really lends itself to the sense of community is an inclusive playground. And Imani, you've been involved in this project. Could you tell us about it?
Of course I can. So my name's Imani Warnham. I go to Hillsborough High School and I'm on the Youth Advisory Council and also serve on the Public Advisory Committee for the Inclusive Playground that is being built behind Hidden Creek Community Center for people with both intellectual and physical disabilities. So what the Public Advisory Panel has mostly been doing is the community outreach portion and bringing different representation of different people from different places. So I'm a high school student where I don't have any of those disabilities. A lot of the people who will be using the playground have, but we also have members who work with adaptable playground equipment and who have children who have disabilities. And what we really worked on doing was giving feedback and spreading the word about the summary for the survey that was put online for the inclusive playground to get public input. Of course, we had to do an online survey this year because COVID-19. And what that survey really touched on was general design moves, natural features, built-in features in transportation, active features and spaces, social gathering spaces and features, flex programming spaces, and different programming options. And I'm really looking forward to having a place where I know many of my disabled friends can go and know it's inclusive.
Thank you. Well, and so Robbie, we've heard then from Imani, all the things that will be a part of the playground. Can you give us an update on the timeline and the progress?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. I am so excited about this inclusive park and playground. It's going to be a wonderful addition to the community and serve a really critical need. We are still in the planning phases now, as Imani talked about. We are planning on going to construction in early 2022, and our goal is to be able to open it in around the spring of 2023. And just a heads up that we've already received a lot of interest in this project from community members, from businesses, and so we are actually planning on doing some type of a fundraiser as well as part of this park that we're looking forward to.
Thank you. So having a place for everybody really does lend itself to the livability of a city. And being a place for everyone ties into the mission of our public library system. For everyone, para todos. And so, Katie, I know you and the library board care deeply about making sure that there is a place for everyone at our library and that seeing the mission is reflected in all parts of our libraries. Can you explain the para todos and the for everyone philosophy?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Callaway. For everyone, para todos is, as you said, our mission statement, and it also guides our strategic planning. It demonstrates that the library wants to be a welcoming space to everyone in our community, and also that we value being accessible, equitable, and inclusive to all patrons.
Thanks. Now, during COVID, the city as a whole has had to adapt to serve all of its community members. So can you tell us how the library changed their service model during COVID?
Yes, absolutely. As most city offices and businesses, the library went through several different phases of what we could offer safely for our patrons and the safety of our staff as well. So the building might have been closed, but the library immediately pivoted to offering services via phone and email, and also started HPL at home, where we would take our events that would normally be happening in person in the library and started offering those online on Zoom, on Facebook, on YouTube. And so we had story times, book discussion groups, STEM and STEAM activities, and then much more. In the summertime, we were able to offer HPL to go, so we could have patrons put books and materials on hold and come pick those up outside in person. We also had our summer reading program where staff had pre-packaged books and art materials for kids, and they went to local parks so that families could pick all those up outdoors as well. it was a really successful program, and we got to reach a lot more families and students to help with that summer slide. So it was really helpful during the summer. One of our most popular COVID offerings has been our surprise bundles. So with the building being closed, patrons have not been able to go inside and browse to find something new and fun. And so staff have put together surprise bundles where they would take books and media that were all of a particular theme, like mystery books or kids movies, and the patrons could check out the whole bundle at once, but without knowing what was inside, and take those home and have something new and fun to look through.
Fun. And we have a new library director as well. And so we're thrilled to have Hillary, taking over that responsibility, and so grateful, for, her service throughout this pandemic as well. Debbie, one of the things that wasn't mentioned, came from the Library Foundation of Hillsborough, and those are mobile hotspots, Wi-Fi hotspots that people can check out from the library for 2 weeks at a time. And can you tell us about how all of that came to pass?
Thank you. Thank you very much, because I love to talk about the library and all the services it can offer. And I know that you are very familiar with the Library Foundation, having been a previous board member for many years, and also an active member as we worked through our capital campaigns for the establishment of Brookwood and the renovation of Shute Park. The Library Foundation is made up of community volunteers who are just as passionate as I am about books, literacy, and libraries. And knowing that the library budget through the city and the county can't always anticipate the needs or meet all of the needs that come up throughout the year, the foundation was formed in 1989 to help bridge that gap and provide an extra margin of funding. So we can reach that excellent stage in our library services. So obviously this year, there was a critical need for internet service to the city of Hillsborough. And so our project came about realizing that there were 110,000 people who live in Hillsborough, and of that 110,000, 29,000 people did not have access to the internet. And that's about 26% of our city's population. So the foundation stepped up, putting some private funding together, some grant requests, and very generous donations from the community to buy and purchase the 25 hotspots. You'll find 15 of them at Shute Park and the other 10 at Brookwood. And as you mentioned, they are available for checkout. You can have them for 2 weeks at a time. And they have been very, very highly received in our community. I'd like to give you just a couple stories if I can. And you would see many cars in the parking lot of various and sundry places searching for a Wi-Fi spot. And a man and his son came to Brookwood. They were hoping to access the internet inside the library, but as Katie mentioned, it wasn't accessible. So they said they would sit in the parking lot out in the cold so the son could do his homework. The staff noticed this and said that they could check out a hotspot and take it home to do homework at home in a nice, comfortable setting. And another patron came having had a malfunction with their router. And they came in to get one of these hotspots, took it home, and was amazed at how simple it was to connect. And the fact that it ran 3 laptops, three phones, and a TV for that family to sort of reconnect to the internet. And another gentleman came in and said he hadn't had internet in 7 years living out in the country. So imagine his happiness at being able to check this out. And I would just like to tell you, unfortunately, they're all checked out, but there's a small waiting list. And this has given another challenge to the foundation. Obviously, 25 hotspots for a city of 110,000 population is not quite what's needed. So the foundation has another challenge to come up with some more funding to hopefully provide more internet access for everyone in Hillsborough.
But for those people watching this video, Debbie, if they're interested in supporting the project or any of the work that the Library Foundation of Hillsborough does, they can go to the website for the Library Foundation of Hillsborough and make a donation. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And we welcome all generous donations. Thank you. Thanks for the plug.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Well, you're welcome. And, Barbara, I know we are all looking forward to coming back to the library when restrictions are lifted and we have access to come back. And when we do, when we come back to the Brookwood Library, we are going to see some changes there. Could you tell us about those and what the Friends of the Library have been doing?
Mr. Mayor, thank you for this opportunity. We are so very excited to have the coffee cart remodel almost finished. We're just waiting for the shelving to go in. There will be just a new space for our regular sale items, and for us, new to us is branded merchandise. The food and coffee place won't be open until probably late fall. I think everybody is going to be very pleased with the new expanded design.
So then all of us, Barbara, who have been reading more at home, who purchased books because the library was closed, we can donate those books back to the Friends of Library now, and they will be sold. And then those resources that raised money will go back to support additional programs at our library. Is that correct?
Yes, we've had a few donation days in the fall with great results. And with the better weather coming, we're planning on having them again. With spring cleaning having lasted a full year, I know everyone's anxious to get their excess belongings to new homes. I'm already 2 bookcases down and my third one's almost packed. So I'm ready for the next one. The donation day will start up again March 20th, the 3rd Saturday of the month, 9 a.m. to 12 at Brookwood Library's parking lot. No appointments are necessary. Directional signs will help people to get their cars in the right place. Books, CDs, DVDs, LPs, puzzles, board games, and all sorts of stuff will be accepted. If anybody has any questions, you can call the library and they'll get in touch with us. We can also use small Amazon boxes for our online business. The plan at this point is to have the donation day event every 3rd Saturday for the next 4 months. I'm also anxious to have a huge book sale again. I've heard from so many of our former customers that this is the one post-pandemic event they are looking forward to. Also like to thank all the volunteers that have been sticking with us through this. Thank you.
Well, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you to the Friends. Thanks to the Library Foundation. We are so appreciative of your commitment to our library. And of course, Katie, thank you for your leadership on the library board. Kyle, as as a parent and with your wife on the school board, I know you all are, you understand the importance of books. You understand the importance of getting books in the hands of kids.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And you, of course, are a former principal, so you understand the importance of literacy. My background is in education and in teaching. My wife's a teacher. So yeah, we hold literacy to a very high standard. And we do that not just in our family, we do that as a city too. So one of the reasons why I'm so proud of our libraries is that they've created things like the no card, no problem shelves, right? So if children don't have a library card, they can still get access to literacy at our library branches. And they didn't just stop there, right? So they branched outside of those brick and mortar buildings. And we've done things like the Book-O-Matic kiosk and the tiny libraries around the community so that people can get access in those ways as well. And then finally, I would say one of the most exciting things that we do is we have the Library on the Loose program, right? So you probably have seen that already. They go out to, primarily during the summer, they go out to parks, migrant camps, schools. They get out in the community and they hold these pop-up services just to allow more and more children to get access to these books, to get that literacy that is so needed. So there's just so many ways that we can reinvent the thought of the library, and Hillsborough is really, really cutting edge in that way.
Thank you. And, so a lot of initiatives, in our libraries, a lot of initiatives in our parks. And and one of the things that has happened this year with our Parks and Rec Department under the leadership of Director Dave Militich was the initiative called Lightopia at Hillsborough Stadium. And Robbie, how did Lightopia come about?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so there was a community psyche grant that was actually run through with the federal CARES Act dollars. And the purpose of that grant was actually to figure out how we can use that money to really lighten the spirits of our community during a really challenging year. And fortunately, we have some really creative staff over in the Parks and Rec department and other departments, and they came up with Lightopia, which was essentially a drive-through experience where you get to come and see just beautiful lights throughout the Gordon Faber Recreation Complex parking lot. During that time, we had over 20,000 vehicles come through with an estimated 60,000 people. It was a huge success as well in terms of donations of toys. There were thousands of toys that were donated to the Hillsborough Firefighter Random Acts of Kindness toy drive. We also had weekly non-perishable food deliveries that were made to the Hillsborough School District food pantry program as well. So it was a huge success, and we're looking forward to bringing it back bigger and better next year.
Thanks, Robbie. We're, having gone through it several times, it really was spectacular. And I look forward to seeing, a bigger and better Lightopia next year. One of the other exciting developments at Gordon Faber Recreation Complex is that the Hillsborough Hops have moved up two levels to high A baseball. So it's a longer season. There's more nights at the ballpark. And for those of us who missed having baseball there all last summer, I'm glad that we get a little bit of a makeup, with a longer season and more nights to cheer on our Hops there at Ron Tonkin Field. So much that's happening all throughout our community, all throughout our parks, and Forrest, we haven't even touched on South Hillsborough.
Yeah, so South Hillsborough is an area that we're seeing a lot of new development. Everywhere you look, there's new construction. We partnered with the developers to deliver new parks and recreation facilities. We have 2 new neighborhood parks that are currently open and a 3rd neighborhood park that's almost completed. I think it will be done in about 3 months. We have a 4th neighborhood park and 2 sections of the Powerline Corridor and Regional Trail that are in planning and design. And one other great part about this area is the Crescent Park Greenway is going to connect right there. And so when completed, the Greenway is going to be an 18-mile multi-use trail. It's going to be on the boundaries of Hillsborough. So on 3 sides of Hillsborough, we're going to try to follow creeks and river corridors as much as possible. The Greenway is going to connect people, parks, and neighborhoods. The Greenway plan is a multi-year process, but we're making great progress. There's already several segments that are completed and several more in the planning and construction phases.
Thanks. I know that is a project that many of us are following along with and really excited to see the development. So thank you for that update. So we mentioned Hillsborough, the only place in the Northwest that was mentioned on Money Magazine's Best Places to Live. So I would like to ask each of you, what is your reason? What do you love about Hillsborough? What makes it the best place to live? And Debbie, just so you know, you can't say the mayor, all right? But I'm going to give you a little bit of time to think, and we'll start with Imani. What makes Hillsborough the best place?
For me, what makes Hillsborough the best place is definitely the people and the community. As someone who served on multiple boards and commissions for the city, as well as working at Hidden Creek Community Center, it's just very prevalent that everyone here is just so happy and involved. And I think that's what makes Hillsborough very special, that everyone is here for each other. And we actually talk to each other and we care about each other, even if we don't know each other.
Thank you. So Debbie, what is it for you?
Well, I'd have to say the libraries and the fact that everyone in the community steps up when we have a need.
Thank you. Katie.
Well, I would love to say the libraries as well, of course. I love that our libraries are so devoted to being for everyone, para todos, and that we are committed to making accessible and fun events for all ages. So little kids as well as adults, and making it a place that feels welcoming and fun.
Thank you. Kyle.
Oh, for me, it's got to be the Hillsborough 2025 community plan, 2035 community plan. I like the community plan because you get thousands of people together and they decide the direction of the city and all the wonderful projects and things that we're going to do. And it's just such a collaborative process. And it's one of those unique things that makes our city so special.
Thank you. Barbara.
Say library. I'm the third, but I'm going to have to say the library and the staff, the really wonderful staff, very caring and helpful. And congratulations again to Hillary for becoming our new director.
Indeed, indeed. Forrest.
Well, I have a couple things. It's the park systems and all the employees that work for the Parks Department are doing a fantastic job, but also the people in the community that we live in really hits home for me. We're a larger city, and still when it's, you can drive a little bit out of the main part of downtown, the core, and still see farm equipment on the roads. And that tells me that we still have a really nice community.
And thank you. And Robbie.
Thanks everybody for the shout outs about staff. And I would just echo how great we have that the city staff are that work for the city of Hillsborough. And I would also say, you know, we're a city of over 100,000 people now, and yet we're still able to maintain that kind of small town friendly feel, which is one of my favorite parts of Hillsborough.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Robbie, our assistant or our city manager, excuse me, for joining us. Forrest Huntington, member of our Parks and Recreation Committee or Commission. Barbara Wright, a member of the Friends of the Library. Kyle Allen, our council president. Katie Ryan, the chair of our library board. Imani Warnham, thank you. We're so glad that you're a part of our YAC and so involved in the things that happen in our community. And Debbie Clark, thank you for your leadership with our libraries and currently with the Library Foundation of Hillsborough. And thanks to all of you who are watching this, whether it be on your computer, on your phone, or on TV. We hope that you will take the time to watch the other videos that are a part of this year's State of the City. Thank you for making Hillsborough one of the best places to live, making it the friendliest city in the state, as well as the most livable city in the Northwest. Take care, everyone. Thank you.